Welcome to the Turn Academy at Longwood Driving Range. This golfer is attempting the single plane setup. You can see that he's actually in a more of a two-plane setup here at the beginning. His hands are a little too low. That puts him out of position, puts him in an awkward stance. It's kind of halfway between a conventional swing and the single plane swing. Let's advance the swing a little bit slowly. See what happens here. As he's adjusting here, he even gets his hands a little bit lower. What we want to see is that the club shaft runs up pointing at the lead armpit. So it'd be up quite a bit higher, about where the line is. Then we notice is he's got his body torqued a little bit to the left. That will actually create either a slice or a push. I know people think if they aim more left, they're going to go more left, but the tendency is if you line more to left, you're going to cut across the ball and hit a little bit more to the right. So we're getting ready to watch this takeaway here. A few more adjustments, and his hands even got lower. I'm going to blow this up for a second. I want to show you how far into the inside of the ball. You can see the club is well inside the golf ball. The ball is out, about half the ball is past the toe of the club. That's another issue, so he's going to have to move the club quite a bit in order to make good contact, unless, of course, he wants to hit it dead right, which he doesn't in this case. So we're going to advance it a little slower here, see what's going on. All right, and the takeoff, where you can see he's really manipulating the club. He's rotating it like crazy, doing all kinds of things, pulling that elbow back behind him. The hands and arms stay in front of you through the swing. You're moving that whole triangle as a unit, and he's not. That's creating all kinds of problems in terms of trying to manipulate the club back to where it needs to be at setup. He's off plane. Right now, he's above the plane with the shaft, below the plane with his hands, and his elbow's flying pretty hard out behind him. The elbow, that trail forearm should be parallel to the white line. And you can see it's here. That's not exactly parallel. So we're going to continue the downswing. He's coming down now. See, he never drops the elbow. The downswing leads with the elbow. What we're going to try to do is get him to bring that elbow down that way, but he doesn't. He just stays out. He never gets down under. Now he's almost in the single plane position at coming into the impact. You notice he's got his hands up, but the club face again is wide open. You can see that from this angle here, how it's coming in wide open. So he's got to square it up, and it's going to be a dead push off to the right, which is where he's going all the time, and he's really frustrated over that. But it starts the setup and then ends at the impact position. What we need to do is get his hands a little lower at impact and a little higher at setup. Let's go ahead and draw one more set of angles in, and we'll back it up from here. Here he is at, I don't like that one. Let's go with a straight line. Let's be a little more creative. Let's go with red here. Go with a nice red line here, and we'll go with a nice 90-degree line to that, which would be about there. Let's see how he moves out of that, going back up. So at setup, you can see he's at a pretty good two-plane setup. And as he comes back, good little head drop there, that's okay. Coming into impact, the hands are moving way out from where they were before, which is creating that problem he has. And that's why he's hitting it to the right. His goal was to hit it about 25 yards left of that line. Now, it's good solid contact, so he's moving in the right direction, but we've got to get him to set up correctly to begin with and then do a nice, relaxed single-plane swing. I come back frequently to how important the setup is in the single-plane swing. Actually, it's just as important in the two-plane swing. What we have here is he's leaning too far towards the target line. There should be a straight line running up his lead side from just outside his lead foot to his lead ear. So he's tilted way in the wrong direction. So when he rotates on the way back, he's collapsing forward. The weight hasn't shifted to the back leg at all. As a matter of fact, you can see that most of the weight, I mean, he's centered right over his front leg. has to be on the front side. So, and then he's going to lunge a little bit forward, and that's an awkward, it doesn't allow him to engage his trail side at all. And what he's going to end up doing is pulling up and out of the shot. There he is, pulling up and out of it there. Early release, you can see that because the club head is starting to pass the hands already. There's the shaft bending towards, so he's really decelerating the hands at this point. See that? And because he's not able to extend down the line, that left elbow is going to collapse on him, and he's going to create what we call the proverbial chicken wing. And it's kind of funny because he does it on the backswing and on the forward swing. So we got to work on a couple of those things. What we want the club to do is release past the hip. At this point right now, the club head should be releasing up this way. The hands shouldn't have to move very far, but the hands are moving and the club head isn't. In relation to the hands, the club is staying exactly the same place. In baseball term, we'll call that a bunt. So what I asked him to do, and we'll see that in the next video, is to do a few baseball-style swings to see where he ends up. We talked at the last video about the baseball swing, which a good swing is a good swing. I don't care if you're swinging a tennis racket, a fly swatter, a baseball bat, or a golf club. If you swing it correctly, it's going to work. We're going to look at the setup here. From the start, you can see now, remember that line we talked about? I don't particularly like the squigglies. I'll do it again. And we'll pick another color here. We'll do it in yellow here. Got a nice straight line. Notice that it's on the angle that we drew in the previous video. Notice that if you look here at this position, I can see through a window that's created by his lead forearm and his trail forearm. So the trail forearm is down where it belongs. Now he's going to pull a club through. He's dropping the elbow like he's supposed to. I'd like to see it get a little bit more in front of him, but we're not going to critique it too much. Notice the lag that's still there. Notice the body movement towards the target like it's supposed to be. The hands are going to pass the yellow line before the club face does. Now the lead arm starts to fold. He releases the club head down the line and finishes fully weighted on his front side. That's his issue. He never gets the weight transfer on his real swing. Now you can see that is a very smooth, comfortable looking swing. That's what we're trying to achieve. I don't know why it gets so difficult for all of us when we bend over, but it really does.